It's a beautiful day and you're enjoying your walk with your dog. You've got your earbuds in listening to your favorite podcast and your dog is walking happily next to you because you spent the time to train him to walk nicely on a leash. But all of a sudden you see it, a jagged, sharp chicken bone on the side of the road. Unfortunately, your dog saw the bone about half a second before you and now is pulling you hard towards the bone, throwing out your arm as he pounces on his prize. You reach into his throat, wrestling him, trying to get the bone out of his mouth, but it's already too late. The sharp piece of bone is down his throat and in his stomach. 2 weeks later, and after a $5,000 emergency surgery, you find yourself afraid to step out onto the streets of your neighborhood because you know your dog has not learned his lesson.
Didn't learn your lesson, huh?
Over the last few weeks, I've been getting a lot of questions on this very issue, so we're going to try to equip you with some tools to prevent this scenario. In this video, I'll demonstrate on how to teach your dog the command leave it. However, we can't stop there, so I'll show you some steps on how to reinforce the command and some strategies to avoid disaster. Here's how to train your dog to leave it. Let's face it, a nice delicious chicken bone might as well be the equivalent of a gourmet prime rib served to you on a golden platter. If that doesn't appeal to you, then maybe a nice Krispy Kreme? Whatever your vices, just imagine that.
I can't resist his charms.
It's hard to resist as a human and no different for your dog. Therefore, it's all about equipping you with a few tools so that in the moment you encounter this incredible temptation for your dog, you can break your dog's attention for a split second, redirect their attention to you, and guide them out of the situation. During a walk, there are a dozen or even hundreds of distractions that are more rewarding than you, so it's important for your dog to have an immediate response to your direction when you try to communicate. The objective is to condition your dog to leave the object alone and divert his attention back to you. So how do you do that? First, we need to teach the basic leave it command to your dog. Here's how you can start at home. When Gandalf was a puppy, we liked using a clicker. It allows for a bit more precision when it comes to communicating to your dog that they're doing the right thing. Also, every time I picked up the clicker, Gandalf knew it was time to train and immediately would go into training mode listening to my every command. This is totally optional since a verbal marker like yes is totally fine, but if you want to give it a try, I highly recommend it. I'll have a link in the description for all of our puppy training tools that we like to use. If you want to support the channel, please do check it out. So for the first step, we simply want to place a treat in our hands. Your dog should be motivated to try to get it from you. However, close your fist so that your dog cannot have access to the treat. The moment your dog stops trying to go for the treat, mark and reward.
Yes.
Note that some trainers will suggest you not treat your pet with the food in your hand because you are essentially suggesting that it is still okay for your dog to eat the object you are asking it to leave. However, with Gandalf, we did just offer the treat immediately to him after. I think if you want to be extra diligent in the rules you establish, I think it does make logical sense.
Good boy.
The second step that we found useful is one of the basic lessons from Zach George. His first lesson to many puppies is the command, look at me. I think this is especially useful for leave it, because the main goal of that command is to divert your dog's attention away from the object you are asking to leave and then get direction from you by looking into your eyes. To do this, place a treat in front of your eyes, and as soon as your dog looks at you in your eyes, mark and reward. Continue to do this for a while, but then fade the treat over time and place your finger in between your eyes, directing your dog to give you eye contact. Mark and reward. Once your dog gets used to the motion, add the command, look at me. Let's go back to the leave it command. This time, you're going to place the treat in front of your dog, but direct your dog to look up at you in your eyes. If he's able to resist the treat, mark and reward. Slowly build duration and then add the command, leave it.
Yes.
Good boy. Okay. So to get a good leave it, Gandalf already knows it, but you're gonna first, he knows that there's a treat in here, and if he goes for it, I'm not gonna say anything, but the minute that he backs off, yes, we give it to him. So in the beginning, that's what you're gonna do. You're going to allow them to sniff the treat. If they keep on pawing at it, if they keep on licking it, that's when you don't give them the treat. But as soon as they back away and wait for you, that's when you mark and you reward them. So as you progress, what you do is, can you show it to them and leave it? Okay. So Gandalf knows leave it already, but what you want to do is just keep a closed fist, and the minute that he doesn't touch it, you can even ask him to give eye contact. Look at me. Yes. And there you go. So that's kind of the beginning of impulse control. That's it. Good. Okay, now as you progress, what you do is you actually put a treat down, leave it. So now it's out of your hands. Yes. And then you reward him by picking up the treat and giving it to him. Okay. You up the criteria by, let's say, placing it over here. Now he's going to come to me. I'm going to try to get him to avoid it. Okay, ready, Gandalf? Leave it. Come. Leave it. Come. Good boy. You see how he goes around it? Good boy. Yes. Come over here. Really good, Gandalf. Good boy, Gandalf. Hi, Tim. Yes. Good boy, Gandalf. Now that we've taught these two commands, leave it and look at me, we're going to then build the 3 Ds: duration, distance, and distractions. I'm here at the local school, which is already a notch up in terms of distractions. Here I place a treat in front of Gandalf and walk away from him. I raise the criteria by adding distance and duration. This entire time he's giving me his full undivided attention, just like we trained earlier in this video. And he nailed it. Moments later, he fails and eats the treat right when I start walking away from him. Alright, we reset and try again. Is he gonna do it this time?
Leave it.
And he fails again. Okay, let's see how he does on his 3rd attempt. This time I don't step as far back as before. And he gets it. I think it's important to note that Gandalf is 9 years old, and we've been training him in this exercise since he was a puppy, and he still doesn't get a 100%. In fact, he actually fails quite a bit. So you really do need to fine-tune these lessons. Training is an ongoing process, and whether your dog is a puppy or an older dog, training is always relevant. Okay, since Gandalf was failing 3 out of the 4 times on the last exercise, I moved the treat a little bit further away from him, and he's doing great. Here I extend the duration for quite a bit, I think almost near a minute. So he's just keeping his eye on me, looking at me as I walk from his right to his left. Try to adjust the criteria like I'm doing here to set your dog up for success. We want to keep this a positive experience. Here I'm going back to the very basic lesson of just holding the treat in my hand. And remember, we're here in a different location and there are more distractions than the home.
Yes.
It's totally okay to switch up the difficulty, especially in a new environment, since you want to gauge exactly how much your dog can handle. This will help build confidence in the new environment you're in. Okay, here now I'm going to place the treat in front of him and step back. I'm raising the criteria by calling him over, making sure that he avoids the treat. He nails it here. This training session took just a little over 5 minutes. If you do this a few times a week in different locations, your dog's leave it command will become pretty reliable. I have one more tip that is just as important as training your dog leave it and look at me. It's just as important that you are vigilant and aware of your surroundings. You can enjoy your walk, but be sure not to get so distracted that you walk right into a trap. Your dog is dependent on your leadership to his own health and safety. Therefore, you need to be constantly scanning and aware of your surroundings. Remember, start practicing in a quiet, controlled environment and gradually add distractions as your pup gets better. With patience and consistency, your pup will be attentive to your leave it command. However, just remember, they are not perfect and temptation will get the best of them if the object is rewarding enough. Therefore, it's up to you to add that extra layer of protection. Be vigilant, safe, and protect your dog to your best of your ability. Leave it is not foolproof, but the split-second diversion can save your dog's life. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give us a like and subscribe for more practical training tips. Thanks for watching.